All right, here we go. Let's see. Let's see if this thing works. It says that I have audio. So let me know, you guys, if I have audio working. I'm a floating head today. So, because I'm in a weird office. Can you guys hear me? Yeah? You can hear me? Oh, please let me know. So yeah, this is a new setup. This is a temporary setup. Um, it's very empty. It's a 5 by 5. It's small. Um, I have a green screen behind me. You can see with my fingers. If I wave, you can see the green between my fingers. Really weird. Okay, so I'm using my webcam. I couldn't get my microphone to work. Technology, thank you. I don't know what the heck is going on. I have this nice stream, this nice stuff, and I can't get the stupid stuff to work. So I do have a green screen behind me. Anyway, I got a new webcam on Amazon Prime Day, which is pretty cool. So this is the new webcam. It's one of those Logitech C920s, which is really nice. I recommend. Super nice. So yeah, this is the new rental place that I'm in for about 3 months. So this is kind of what it's going to look like for about 3 months. I will most likely get my microphone working. I have it right here, but it's not working. Anyway, it's I can't figure the line out of my soundboard to work. I don't get it. I don't understand it. So I got to go dig back in there, figure it out again. But anyway, this character is from David. So David, I saw that you were here. How's it going? Um, so David, with this, let's see. This is the concept you sent, right? Right here. I know you're working on this. So yeah, I'm sorry, Lucky. That I even tried to get my lapel mic to work. Um, this is the temporary house. This is not the new house. My new house is being built. It'll be done in 3 months. So yeah, and I will get the microphone working by next week. This was kind of a rush to get this set up, and I'm using the webcam microphone, so it's super crappy. I apologize, but it is what it is. I hope you guys can just hear me okay, well enough that you can understand. So anyway, David. So I'm just going to say I don't know how to say it nice, but the concept is a little bit amateurish, and I think I've talked to you about that before. Um, it's kind of difficult to. I mean, there's some nice things going on. I don't know which one you're going after, um, but there are some there's some good qualities that's going on here. So it's all I'm going to say about the concept. If it's on the amateur side, is you're going to have a tougher time modeling it if it's not a pro um, a professional concept, I guess is what I'm trying to say, but you can still work with it. Um, Now, there are some anatomy issues going on right here, and I wanted to kind of talk to you about it a little bit. And I also wanted to say that I haven't announced it yet. I'm going to announce it this afternoon, but I've dropped 2 brand new lessons that would help you out greatly, I believe, and that is the head anatomy lessons. So I'm going to be sending those out later today. Let me show you where they're at, where you can find them. If you go to 3D Character Workshop and go to library, my library right here, and go to the main workshop here. And if you go down to stylized anatomy, this one, there are 2 new ones, anatomy of the head part 1 and part 2. So you can check those out. The next one I'm going to be digging in deeper into the nose, the ears, each specific part of the face. So it's starting to happen. So do I have any, or can you suggest any classes on concepting? Um, so what I would recommend is let me see. What would I recommend? I would recommend Aaron Blaise and um, gosh, I wish Sean was here. Sean, because I know Sean would have some suggestions. Sean Bryant. He's a professional concept artist, and he's one of the students in here. So usually he shows up. So if he does, I'll ask him what, because I'm not a concept artist myself. Um, so essentially, this I would go through the head anatomy tutorials and kind of work through the anatomy on this head, and it's a good start. But if you just keep going on it and make the head a little more oval shaped instead of perfectly round like this, and it's a little bit on the large side for those concepts. The shoulders are a bit wide, the chest is a bit wide, and then these hips, the peak or the apex of the hips should be here instead of here on a female. So I'll just nudge this around a little bit. But let's see, why isn't this working? Is it masked? Okay, it's masked up. So, and the pelvis box is a little tall. So we're just going to kind of pull this out, and the legs are a little far apart. Close that up, and then here, let me hide these arms. I do have some books on concepting. Come on, hide. There we go. Okay, so from the side, I would just nudge this around, make this a little bit bigger. And what I've done is I've pulled in some models to help you kind of see what I'm talking about as far as some of the anatomy goes. Let's pull this in. Okay, so and the rest of the anatomy is coming as soon as I can get a good setup that isn't this temporary microphone. Hopefully I can get that going and get the rest of the anatomy stuff done. Okay, so just something like that, and you can raise this up a little bit. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, the Tom Bencroft books are fantastic. And Stephen Silver, that's another one. I just had a total brain. I just couldn't remember any of those books. But thanks, guys. Yeah. So the Tom Bancroft ones, Stephen Silver ones, those are pretty good. How to Draw the Marvel Way is also a really good book. It's kind of the tried and true as far as anatomy goes. It's really good. Are there more than just the two Bancroft books? I think they have quite a few. Oh, hey, what's up, Brian? So let's see. So let me show you. Let's show you this one. So this is one. This is an anatomy model that I made kind of a while back. Let me turn off the fill. So you can kind of see here. Let me hide these arms. Okay, so from the side, you can kind of see the abdomen pokes out and then kicks back in, and the back comes out, and then it kind of slopes here, and then it's almost like a teardrop on the end, right here. See that teardrop shape? Rather than it's not a bubble shape. Well, I guess some people are. Oh, there's Sean right there. So How to Draw the Marvel Way is a super rare book. Thankfully, people have uploaded. Do you have maybe a link to where that is, Sean? Yeah, it's old. It's old. It's old, tried and true book. That's kind of where I first started learning. I keep looking over here like my old camera's over here, and it's not over here. Anyway, you guys just joining me. This is my temporary 3-month setup. I couldn't get my mic working today, so I'm using the webcam of all things. I got a new webcam. I'm doing the floating head. I have a green screen. Yeah, I'm just kind of floating down here. So I haven't set up my camera yet. It's still just kind of sitting right here. Here's my camera that I use. I haven't got that set up yet. It's been kind of a whirlwind. So um, yeah, and like I said, I couldn't get my stinking microphone to work. I don't know why. Anyway, it has USB outputs and analog outputs, and they kind of cross each. And it's a pain in the butt. So I'll try and get that working by next week. So anyway, you can kind of see the distance between the legs here. It's a little closer. The apex of this muscle or this leg is here, not up here. And there's actually kind of there are bony landmarks that I'm going to be teaching in the anatomy class, but one of them's right here where the hip bone is, and then there's another one right here where the leg hooks into the pelvis right there. So, and that's why the apex is there, and then it kind of makes a shape like this, the pelvis inside there. So, oh, Caitlin, thanks. Yeah, you know, it couldn't have went better. It was nice. We actually hired a moving company that's called the name of them is oh my goodness. I want to say Ever After, but it's not Ever After. It's like anyway, the premise behind this moving group is they're kind of ex-convicts. I know that sounds horrible, but that have gotten out and they're trying to get back on their feet and stuff like that. So they sent 4 guys and they were the best movers I've ever had. They were running from furniture to furniture. So we had all of our big furniture just ready to go, and they were literally running through my house, grabbing the next piece. I mean, it's being super careful with it, but like going to get the next one, and they did the entire house in like 4 hours, and that was 2 trips. They had a kind of a smaller truck, but yeah, it was nuts. It was crazy, very cool. So don't see street movers. Awesome. Okay, so let me just kind of snapshot this down so you can kind of see the difference here. Okay, let me just unhide this, then do a mirror and weld. Let's see, there we go. Okay, so you can kind of see the difference. I know your head, you're going for a different sized head, stuff like that, but you can kind of see where the cranium is and how the jaw hangs off the front, where the ear lives and the eye. I go through all of that in the anatomy, the new, in the brand new lessons. If you want to check those out, I talk about how to set up a head like this. And yeah, next I'll be going through all the rest of it. So hopefully that helps you, David. And then I also have the hand, if you haven't seen that one. The creating stylized hands, I would recommend going through those. And this hand isn't bad, but there are some, it's actually quite nice. But there are some areas that, like the knuckles penetrating out of the palm a little, or the back of the hand a little too far, but the fingers are looking really nice. That thumb is a little heavy as far as it's kind of large compared to these other fingers, so I maybe shrink that down. And it's coming out of the hand kind of down here a little bit too far instead of back here, so maybe pull it back down. But yeah, it's a decent hand. So anyway, I hope that helps. Just kind of go through and figure that out. How do you do the snapshot thing? Hey, what's up, Jim? You do, yeah, it's just Shift S. You don't have to drag. You just hit Shift S. Well, I'm holding down Alt to move the model away. So I guess I am dragging away. And I can turn it to the side. I'm just holding down Shift to snap to the side. And then Shift S will snap to the screen like this. So yeah, I use that all the time. Okay. So does that help, David? I'm sorry. I just want to try and get you on the right track to get you down the path of like trying to correct some of these shapes and things like that. So I would really work on the head anatomy first, and then work your way down and maybe work on the hands, but then work your way down the body and stuff like that, and get some reference. But yeah, you can kind of see how the shoulders, these shoulders here. Let me clear this out. Okay, let me just snapshot this and get this one in here. So you can kind of see it's better from the front, I think. But and this model I have has much longer legs, but you can kind of see how they're shaped. The inside of the calf is like this. I actually have this kind of this is a bit high. This apex, it should kind of be down here more. But what my friend Matt Armstrong told me, he's in the class too, is like if you think of a frowny face, like eyebrows down being frown, and like a frown going up like this, that kind of gives you a guide where the apex of the muscle should be. So like this is the apex on the inside and the apex on the outside. It kind of should be at this angle, so that's like the frowny mouth, right? And then for up here, they should cross each other this way, which they do, kind of. But that's, so the apex out here, and then the apex in here. They're not straight across from each other. So actually this one should be out here a little bit more. Not so high up here. More like that, I guess. So it's more like that. Yeah. Okay, if that makes sense. So you started it, but then bring this. I'm trying to pull on something that's not there. Anyway, hope that helps. Okay, so I also wanted to talk to you about this one. So this is from last week, and let me see here. Look at this mail, and this is from. I'm trying to remember. Sorry, Angelo, right? Yeah, this is Angelo's. Okay, so Angelo, are you around? I think I saw you piping up there. And David, let me know if you have any specific questions too. Okay, but yeah, I would just say keep hammering on that anatomy. You'll get there. So okay, now this is Angelo. You've done an awesome job, like really trying to match that and that concept. So let me open the concept. Okay, so here's the concept. I would just keep going and keep trying to match the silhouettes and things like that of the, what did I do with the other? I'm still not used to Affinity Photo yet. This is Affinity Photo, not Photoshop. So, okay, there we go. They're both right here across the top. Okay, so what I would do is just kind of pull this tail down a little bit so it feels like a little heavier on the weight, right? Just right in here. And then, and you guys, if you haven't checked out Affinity Photo, it's really cool. So Scott Briscoe turned me on to this. It's kind of a, are you losing sound? I hope not. Affinity Photo, I'll try and speak up. Affinity Photo is like a Photoshop replacement. It's a one-time cost instead of a subscription, like we all love. Yay! So yeah. Anyway, yeah, you've done a really great job starting to match up these harsh lines. Okay, it's not dropping. Okay, cool. I was wondering if it was just me mumbling. Yeah, so you have these nice harsh lines now. You've got them in there. That really helps. And that overlapping robe, it's, so I would actually give it a little bit more thickness because it's kind of getting thin on itself up in here. Like just these little cut lines, I would punch those. You would lose those in a 3D print. So I would punch them up and make them kind of match the rest of like how far you've punched some of these. I would continue that shape language down into the overlapping robe as well. So you can see the offset you have probably in this one. I would do that big of an offset in the robe down here. that's just kind of my knee-jerk reaction there. So yes, the death nail. Oh, it rocks on iPad. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, so let me see if I can catch anything else here. Um, the only other thing is you can see kind of this hole around the hoodie, how it's kind of making, what it's trying to do is it's replicating. Let me see if I can show this. Look at this, it's my skull. You can see it better. So it's kind of replicating this dark area underneath the cheekbone. See, they've even painted this up underneath here, and I think the designer who designed this was trying to capture that dark look down in there to make it look more like a skull. So I would make sure you get that in there. Let's take a look. So see how it's kind of reduced right here? I would increase that gap, and it's try. I don't know that I would make the cloth the same color as the eyes. I would probably take it darker on the inside, and then on the outside of the cloth, maybe try something a little lighter, a little more contrast. I mean, this is a pencil drawing, so you know what is it really? What's the color? I don't know if you have access to the original concept artist. Maybe ask them what they had in mind, but um, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly they had in mind for the color. And then these eyes are a little further open than the concept. You can see these are a little squished. I'm just kind of going back and forth and catching instead of looking side by side. But all right, I did it twice, but it seems okay now. All right, good deal. Okay. Um. So I think I saw Overton here. Let me grab your model. So does that help, Angelo? Does that kind of give you a guide of where to go with it? Oh, this is a TIFF. Okay. Let's see if I can save this. TIFF zip. I'm just going to kind of view it in the email, maybe. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna view it right here in the email. So, yeah, cool. Yeah, as long as I hope it helped you out. Um, so yeah, this is good. This is really good stuff. Lowered the shoulder, raised this shoulder, um, twisted this torso a bit, which is great. Um, yeah, it's just enough to break up that pose a little bit. So, and I don't know what it looks like from the side, but what I would do too is save off a version. Like, and I was just talking to Corinne about this earlier today. Is save off a version and really push it. Like, see what happens when you break the pose. Like, see what happens when you go away from the concept just a little bit, right? So I would even push it more. You know, make his hand go up more, make the shoulders really drop, and make that torso twist. And because if you're printing this guy, it's going to help if you have some sort of uh, some sort of corkscrew is what I call it, corkscrew. So that just means that the pose looks good from all angles instead of just the front. So usually when a concept artist does a concept, they draw the concept to the camera, right? Am I right, Sean? So they draw the concept to the camera with kind of with disregard of what it would look like from other views, right? So um, you kind of have to work your modeling magic into the other views. Hey, what's up, Matt? Yep, you're welcome. I'm going to announce those this afternoon, so hopefully we'll get some feedback on them, and I hope you guys enjoy them. I hope it helps your heads. And like I said like I've said before, I can't wait to get to the comparison or the examples video, because then I can show you all of the landmarks and everything that I'm talking about, because the head that I'm making is just a head full of planes and it's kind of boring. But when I start to point out all of the stuff I'm talking about in different heads of different, like I'm looking for vastly different head shapes, but you can still see all the landmarks that I'm talking about and all the head planes and everything in those other designs, and it carries on through, and it's really fun to see. It's almost like I'm hoping for that Karate Kid moment, you know? It's like I'm just showing you this boring plane head. I'm just showing you how to like paint the fence, right? And then later on, when I show you, it's kind of a reveal moment where it's like, no, this is where this landmark is, and this landmark, and this landmark. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right. Anyway, do you guys have any questions? Concept artist or pinup artist? I feel too many pinup artists are being called concept artists. So I don't know. And sorry, let me go back to Overton. Does that kind of help you, Overton? I really like the pose as it is right now. I think you could go with it, and it would be just fine. But I just I would love to see what it looked like if you just kind of pushed it a little bit more. You know, just kind of, just don't be afraid. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you're afraid, but just try and push it. I used to be an airbrush artist back in the late 80s, early 90s. I would go to these car shows and things and do airbrushing on T-shirts and whatnot. It was and I took an airbrush class in college, and there was this instructor. I was drawing a drawing of Mark Twain on a rocking chair, and he's sitting on a dock in Louisiana on a rocking chair, like he's telling you the story. And I made it very exaggerated. Well, I thought it was exaggerated. His eye was really big, and the other one was small, and his wild hair everywhere, and the perspective was very distorted. The camera was coming from the top and looking kind of at his eye as the key point, and then kind of the perspective was getting smaller and smaller as it went down the rocking chair. And I think I went back to him like 5 times, and he's like, push it more, push it more, push it more, exaggerate it more, make that perspective just crazy fisheye lens. And it's just, you'll be surprised at how much you can get away with. And that's what I was just telling Corinne too. It was like, you know, really try, and if you save, oh hi, if you save a model, a version off, it's almost like a speed sculpt mentality, where you know you don't have to worry about it anymore, because you don't have to worry about breaking it. And don't worry about the clothes, don't worry about anything getting broken. Just worry about, or not worry, but just focus on the pose and the line of action, what your character is trying to say. Because I think too many students will try and work on a pose, and they're just afraid they're going to break something. They're going to break the way the knee's bending, or the clothing, or something's not going to follow along, and so that makes you timid. It makes you like not push the pose as far as you could, if that makes sense. So if you, and this is what I learned from Irene Matar. She is a fantastic sculptor. She came and helped us at the studio on Infinity, and we were working on Spider-Man, and I was just asking her, like, you know, when it comes to posing, what kind of advice does she have? And what she would do is she would turn the move brush to a lower setting on the Z intensity. She would just turn it down a little bit so it becomes more of a nudge brush and less of a move brush. And she would try different poses, and she would try to, even if it would break the character, like when I say break, I mean like stretch the legs too long, stretch the arms too long, or make them too thinner, or just break the fingers and make them all sideways and tweaked or whatever. And it just doesn't matter, because if you're getting the essence of the character in there, And then you can use it as a template to then pose your real character too. It becomes a lot better. So let me kind of show you what I'm talking about a little bit. Um, let's see what I can do. Uh, this is a game. That's probably too big. I'm just looking for something that I might be able to kind of use. Let me show you this ape. Okay, so we have this ape guy, right? And he's all in segmented everything. So I'm just going to kind of, I don't know if I want him segmented. Doesn't really matter. But, okay. Let me try one more. Beta Bob, what is he? Okay. this was for a beta test when I was messing with that. I can't even remember what the name of the tool was. I just wasn't a huge fan. I'm like, what does this tool even do? Anyway, so I made the ring has nothing to do with the guy's head. Okay, I have too much crap in here, that's what. Maybe, okay, maybe I'll just load my bear up in here. Sorry, Antonio, is that weird? I'm like, hi, up in the camera. Okay, so this is my bear. I don't know what's going on with the t-shirt colors, but let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay, so pretend I want to pose this guy, and I really want to push him somehow, some way. The hair removal ring, oh, that works. Okay, so say we want to push this guy. I'm going to hit T-pose mesh. Okay, and he's going to go down into his. Let me turn this off of black. Okay, so we can see him. Okay, here we go. And say I want to pose his legs. Okay. What I can do is I'm just going to pose his leg. And see, this is breaking right here along his butt when I rotate this leg out, right? That's what I'm talking about when I say break. Don't worry about breaking it. Okay, so we're going to go from the front and mask this one off. And we'll put this leg forward, and it's breaking the back, and that's okay. How'd you know I like Pop-Tarts? No. So I can't, see how this is broken? And that's okay. I can come in here and just lightly bring it back and fix it. Fix this. Fix this. And then we're going to curve his knee up. Let's blend that. Hey, what's up, Mark? No worries. You can always watch it back. Okay. We're just talking about posing. Okay, and then I want to pose his foot. So what's kind of cool, and I didn't really talk about this in posing, but say I want to pose the foot. Instead of clearing out my mask and masking that off completely again, I can just add to the mask. So since this is already masked, I'm just going to kind of grow that mask down the leg like that. And then just kind of check it to make sure it's not broken. Reorient the gizmo. I think I want to blend this mask a little bit. Turn his foot like this. And then we'll kick this little toe up right here. Okay. So now what we can do, since we got this pose, I just posed just the bottom of him, right? I'm not caring about the top of him or whatever he's doing. I don't even know. But pretend we posed him and we like it and it's good. but parts of him are broken somehow, and we don't care, like this wrinkle right here or something like that. So what we can do now is we can save this out as a template, okay? From right here, right now, we can just save it as a template. So what I'm going to do is go to turn group off right here, and then export this out as an OBJ, okay? So we'll go 3 character workshop OBJs. I'll just call it T-pose bear. Okay, so now that's saved, and I'm gonna now that's my I don't care. I just broke this, but I like the essence of the pose, even though it's kind of broken. And how do I use this as a template now? Well, I'm going to reset this whole thing. Okay, clear out all my tools, clear out everything. I don't care anymore, and I'm bringing that bear back in here. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to Z tools. Gotta find the bear idea. That's what it was. Okay, so now we're back here, and this is where we were before, and I want to use that other one as a template. So what I can do is I go back down into T-pose. Okay, so it's going to push it down into T-pose, or into T-pose mesh, which is, it's ready to pose it, right? Okay, now you can see there's only one subtool here. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to append that other pose as a template for us to go try and match the pose to. And what's cool about this, think about this, you could pretend you made your character and you made the low resolution version of your character, and then you sent it over to Blender or Maya or something like that where you could rig it. And this is exactly what we did with Infinity, is we sent it to the rigging department. They put a really kind of crappy rig that was good enough that we could get poses out of it, and we would send it to the concept artists and the animators, whoever wanted to try different poses on these characters, and then they could pose it in Maya with a rig, with a low resolution, and then they would kick out an OBJ. They would save it out as an OBJ and give that OBJ back to us, and then we would try and match the pose, even though the poses were kind of broken because the rigs weren't very good. So we'd have like hose knees and hose elbows and stuff like that. But the essence of the pose was there that we could use as a template. So now that we have him in this position, what we need to do is append a star, and it'll put a star as a subtool down here. Okay, you can kind of see it poking out down there. Okay, and then we're going to import, and we're going to go get that OBJ that we made with the legs running. Okay, so right here, and there it is. Here's our template. Okay, you can see the legs, and what's cool about this is I'm going to go back to the top, and I can turn on transparent. Okay, so now that transparent is on, you can see the legs that are bent right here. So now I can go in and match the pose to our template. Does that make sense? So this is what I did with Spider-Man. I had some of the concept artists help me pose Spider-Man, and some of the animators get those fingers really cool looking, and then they gave it back to me, and I posed it and I moved it to make it match that template. So essentially I would go and mask this off. I can solo this just to check out. It's kind of crawling because I didn't pose the entire bear, I just posed his legs, so they're taking up the same space. But I can turn that on and try and match that leg. And you don't have to match it exactly, you're just using it as a template. Okay, so now now you can be more careful and make sure it's not going to break your clothes this time. It's not going to break, all of that precious stuff that you're afraid of breaking when you're doing your pose. Okay, so it's like a safeguard against breaking your model when you're doing the real pose. Okay, so if you have a pose that you can just throw against the wall and see if it sticks, and then if you get a pose that you like, that's when you can be careful with it. So hopefully, yeah, projectile. Okay. Anyway, does that make sense? Oh, and then one more thing you have to do is, before going back up out of this T-pose master, is you have to delete this subtool. You have to delete your template, or else it's not going to work because there's too many subtools for it to match. So you have to go back in here, delete this one, say okay, so you're just back to one subtool, then you can hit T-pose sub T and take it back up. Yeah, that's kind of the way that it's safe. it makes it safe to do, to just essentially, like I said, it's like a speed sculpt. So you can pose without worry. Yeah, that's essentially it. What happens if you don't? You just get an error, and then you go, why did I get an error? And then you'll go, oh, because I did forgot to delete that. It'll just say could not find or could not match or could, you know, it gives you some kind of an error saying it you can't go back up. So, yep, go break it, Corinne. Go push it. So, and then yeah, just save off an OBJ as a template, and then you can bring it back in and pose him for real. So no, it doesn't crash. It shouldn't crash. It just gives you an error. Somebody was asking me about caricature. I think I missed it. Broken middles. Yeah, and I talk about how I go about posing in the pose section of the workshop. How I usually start to pose the pelvis first, and then work my way out, kind of like a tree. I start from the stump and work down the roots when I'm posing, and then I go back to the stump and work my way up the trunk and up the branches and out to the leaves, which are the fingers at the very end. I've got my green screen fingers. This green screen thing. I don't know. I might just set up my camera the way I had it, and there's nothing to the side of me. It's just white wall. So, yeah. Oh, you emailed me the side view? Okay, I'll check it out. Okay, let's open it up in Affinity. Oh, cool. Yeah, look at that. That looks awesome, man. Yeah, that's great. That's some great flow going on. So that's the hardest thing when you're doing a collectible, right? Is getting it so it's not on a plane. And Corinne, I know you're fighting with this because your wizard is like, he's got his two arms out, you know, one holding a staff and one kind of doing its thing. And when you look at it from the side, he's like a wall, just a plane. And you need to break that plane and make it interesting. And that's exactly what you've done here, Overton, which looks great. So you break that plane, and you can do it with the cape. You did it with the legs, and it just helps quite a bit as far as getting that corkscrew kind of effect where it looks good from all sides. Yeah, really, really cool stuff. Okay, so awesome job, man. What was I gonna say? I can't remember. Yeah, this is great. This is super great. I'd love to see some gradients and textures and stuff. Oh, I was going to show you some turntable. So turntables are super easy inside of ZBrush if you want to do a turntable. You can do a turntable inside of KeyShot, but you have to have, excuse me, you have to have the animation add-on, which is KeyShot Pro for ZBrush, which is a little bit more, yeah. Oh, how should you break them? So you, Overton, you posted kind of your breakdown as far as how to break them up for printing, and I would do exactly how you had it. So I was trying to rotate this image. Like, let me rotate around and look at it, but oh, I can't. But what I would do is I would make his head, maybe you might even separate his hat off of his head and put a key in the top. And then, then put a key, make his neck an actual key that goes down through that cape and make that cape kind of float on top. You can put keys on the bottom of that cape to kind of stick down in there. But other than that, you should, I might print his right arm with the gun separate. And you could even cut his left arm off if you wanted to, so they both kind of stick in. Like both of his arms have keys right here, and you can just kind of stick them in like that. but I wouldn't put a key from his waist into his pants, his lower legs. I think this would all print as one big piece, and that it would work good. So in Marmoset, yeah, it's really. Do you have Marmoset, Overton? Marmoset does a really easy and fast turntable, but I was gonna just show you how to do it. No, Sean, I'm not gonna actually make it here, but because it would, yeah, it would make my CPU scream. But if you go to Movie, it's right here, turntable, record turntable, and yeah, you just that's where it's at, and then essentially it will use the center of the world to pivot around, and then you can. There's a few things in here you can do, like the title page, and like I just turn these to 0, so there's no title fade in or out. You don't need a title on here. And then I think, let's see, I'm trying to remember how there's a spot where you say how many times to spin them around. Snapshot time. It's been a while. Oh, spin frames. So 180 spin frames, spin cycles. There it is. So if you want them to spin more than once, you can change that spin cycle number. And this is the spin axis. So yeah, you essentially just do that. How to make it turn in reverse? Oh, I don't know that you can. Maybe? No. Yeah, I don't know how you could do that. Other than like stick it into Premiere and flip it so it's going the opposite way. But I'm not sure that you can do that. Yeah, Marmoset is just a drag and drop button, and it made a turntable. Yep, yeah. You just drag it out and just drop it right on the top. Just hit rewind. Yeah, I don't know if that's possible to do it in the opposite direction inside of ZBrush. It's super duper limited what you can do as far as a turntable goes. So, all right, does that help? Okay, let's see. Let me see if I have. I just kind of wanted to show you how I keyed, or how Steven helped me key the dinosaur and the cowboy. Let's see. I think this is the full pose. What was I saying about gradients? Oh, it would just be nice to have, like, do the texturing and do some gradients on there. No, this isn't it. I think it's with, it's shared with Jake. Where are you, Jake? I gotta clean this out. It's getting too crazy. Might be in my Dropbox. Yeah, I'm not sure where it's at. Huh. Hey, what's up, Tim? Okay. I'm just looking at it while you guys, if you have any questions. Man, where did that go? I must have sent it to him through like a file sending service instead. Yeah, I would, if you want to, Overton, work on, do some textures on there, just poly paint some gradient tones on there. So, sorry, 1 second. I'm not finding it. I don't know where it went. Gosh dang it. Okay. How many? I'm not sure how many students. I think there are at least 3 or 4. You'll have to get the. I'll have to get those files that have everything keyed and show you guys how they're keyed. The cowboy is really interesting, and Stephen was so I was having him. He recorded the entire process, and he was putting it together. But he's really busy. He works for Disney Imagineering now, and I think he's still there. And but what he did with this dinosaur is cut a seam up the leg. Here, let me just go grab it. I'll show you. One second. Sorry, I disappear. Doing Ben from Full Throttle. I love that game. Full Throttle is great. So, Lucky, what can you send me that model really fast? Let's take a look at it. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this, but this, can you see that seam going up the leg right here? So he cut the leg in half, and then there's another seam on this tail, and he actually cut the tail right here, and then there is another, so he's actually coming out, but the reins, so the reins are a piece. See, I just pulled them off. The head is keyed, and the bottom, can you see that key right there? That key goes into his torso right there, that key. You can see him sitting there. And then this head is another one. See that? And then the saddle, this entire thing is like fit. Oh, come on. Well, you can kind of see it. See this whole saddle piece right here? That's all. Oh, come on. All right. So this saddle piece is all one big chunk. And then, yeah, like I said, this tail. And then this body, this seam, goes all the way down and cuts this leg. This leg is another piece. You can kind of see the seam going around there. And this was unnecessary to do. We wanted to do, since it was such a cantilevered design like this, I kind of like this, the camera here, because it can focus really tight. Anyway, this cantilever design, we were thinking we would have to put a wire up through this leg to get it, add extra security, and so you can see down the bottom there's a hole. See that hole right there? We were going to put a wire up through there, a big thick gauge wire, but it was it kind of was able to hold itself. So we didn't need to have that wire in there, but we didn't know until we stuck it on there, right? So, see, you can see how thin that hat is. Look how thin that is. That's how thin a Form 2 would print. And this arm, let's see. Yeah, this arm is a separate piece. You can kind of see the little seam right there. It's cut. And then you can see the detail on his shirt, the little teeth. Pretty crazy. Yeah, right? I was too. It's pretty crazy. So, okay. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay. And for Cardozak. Are you here? I can check it out for sure. Okay, and Lucky, I'll grab this one too. Because I want to talk to you about his chin specifically. So let's open that. Yes, me too, Jim. Me too. The closest you can have is a game called Ark. Have you played Ark? How expensive was it? I don't know because Formlabs printed it for me to bring to the to have at the ZBrush Summit at their booth. So Jake printed it out for me, and it just kind of as a, you give us a model and we'll present it at the thing, which is super duper nice of him. Yeah, I don't know what that would cost to print, but I want to get a bigger one. Yeah, that stuff is brittle. They have different kinds of look at those reins. They have different types of material, but yeah, this is super duper brittle. The sword from my pirate girl, the tip of it, the very tippy tip broke off, and there's like this hip thing, and one of the things broke off of that. But it's, yeah, for the most part, it's pretty cool. Let's see. Let me just open this up. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so yeah, this guy's looking great, Lucky. So there's just a couple things. And one of them is try and get the wrinkles of his clothes to be less symmetrical, which is kind of a given. And then the other thing is kind of look at some reference of some baggy clothes to have these make a little bit more sense. Most wrinkles happen around wherever the cloth is getting bunched or pulled. So it's going to come down into his boot, and then it's going to bunch like this, right? And then go straight up like that. So I would bunch the cloth down next to the boot. So look at some reference, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And it's going to bunch around this knee pad, so like around this area here. And same goes for the sleeve. It would be bunched around the elbow and around the wrist. So as this comes down, you might get a wrinkle right there, and a wrinkle right there. And then around the elbow, another couple wrinkles. You might, a wrinkle here would be caused from looseness, because that's kind of where wrinkles come from, is when the clothing is all kind of loose like that. NLT, really? You picked up cheap resin printer and the messy and stinky, but the prints are good. That's all you want, though. Good prints. And then the crotch area, it's I would probably bring it over and have some wrinkles kind of going like this, some folds in here, and not having it kind of go up like that, right? So just again, find some pants, look at some reference, and I would bring it more out like that. You can look at some Fortnite characters, because this guy is kind of in that Fortnite realm. See, this is looking pretty good back here. So when you get these kind of wrinkles like this, it's always where there's a pinch. So I would do the same thing up in this armpit. So you get some wrinkles up in here like this, pinched wrinkles. And make this pit be higher. Bring it up higher up in here. Then what I was going to say about his chin is I would just kind of clean up his face. Yeah, he's got those. I know the concept that you're trying to hit, and you're doing a good job. But I would just kind of go through here and clean up the lumpies and make him a little cleaner, especially this. See this transition right here? It's catching some light. A good way to see what it's doing is to turn off the color and then pick like a zebra gray, and you can really see how lumpy and bumpy he is. Okay, so let me duplicate this off. We'll solo just the head, and then just kind of come in here and clean this stuff up. Let me see what it looks like. Okay. Just go crazy with that smooth brush and just really, and you can even hit it with polish. Just kind of kill that light catching transition right here, going down to his face, and then his bottom lip is super sharp. So you might want to just kind of pull the sharpness out of that lip a bit, because it looks good, but it's just a little too crazy. Same with this sharpness right here. You can still have it, but just don't be so blatant about it, you know. And then you can also fill in this transition right here a little bit. And then bring this cheekbone over. Then you can pinch this back. And then same with this top lip. See the warbliness going on right up in here? Just kind of clean that up. Again with the top lip and the pinch, just don't be so blatant about it that it's in your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, just try and keep it smooth as you can. I know he's kind of a lumpy guy, but just pick your breaks and stick with them. Okay, Lucky. All right. You can hit this polish. I'm just trying to even all of this out right through here. Something like that, if that helps. Same with this. You have like two lines coming down off the lips. So kind of I'd probably get rid of this inner one. You can keep the outer one, but you want to make sure that the way the lip ends is, you don't have to end it so sharp. And it also ends, I'm going to talk about it in the anatomy lesson, but it ends short usually, like right here. It doesn't go all the way to the corner of the mouth, the bottom lip. It kind of ends a little short. And there's like a pocket there. And I think this geometry is kind of fighting against you right here. But anyway. He's looking good though. I like the overall shapes you have going. So let me see. Then the other, yeah, I didn't change too much, but you can kind of, I just wanted to show you just how to clean up the surface. See that? Just kind of clean all that up, make it smooth. It'd probably be cheating. Yeah, I just work, just kind of just kind of see what I did. I didn't do much. It shouldn't take you too long. I would just work that surface clean. See that? Clean it up, and then just kind of unpinch some of these super sharp things. Okay. Sorry, man. That's yeah. We'll keep it on the straight and narrow. There we go. See, so this is before, and this is after. Before, after. I'd probably pull that cheek out a little bit the way you had it. That's a nice shape. But as far as just like cleaning all this stuff up, because that it's that old LucasArts very clean 2D art. So try and yeah, just kind of try and hit that. Oh, lack of geometry. Lack of geometry in the lips. Yeah, you can just you might be able to use Sculptris Pro if you want to, if you're running out of geometry like that. But this hair is looking good. I like that. It's not bad. Maybe clean up a little bit of the overlaps. And then clean up where this collar is pushing in to his body. Just make it kind of even all the way across. And then I would actually make this jacket have an overlap instead of just this light hinting of an overlap, like physically make it real. Like when you go to retopologize this coat, looks like you already have. It wouldn't take much just to kind of cut that piece away and then just overlap it. Just so it makes a nicer transition. Look at him with no head. It looks like a thumb guy. Nice. I remember that game where he's like, and I keep repeating it in my head, is he goes up to this junkyard and he's like, open up, Todd. I don't know why I remember that. So how would I do it? Well, I can show you really fast. Because you already have the geometry there to support it. Let's see, but you have the interior. So what I would do is I would make it single-sided first. Yeah, I don't know why I remember that line. Open up, Todd. The junkyard owner's name was Todd, I guess. Okay, so it looks like you have okay. I'm gonna split this off. That's the first thing. Group split. Get that out of here. Okay, so now we're gonna make it single-sided. Hey, what's up, Steven? I know, I'm sorry. This is it's my temporary situation. This is a webcam microphone because I couldn't get my big microphone to work for some stupid reason. Yay, technology. Okay, I'm going to do double. And then delete hidden. And I'm also a floating head. I got a green screen behind me because I'm in a temporary rental house for a moment. That's fun. Okay, let's delete hidden. Same on this side. Yeah, there's some weirdness going on right there. All right, delete hidden. Okay, let's see if we, and then if we do auto groups, I don't think I did the neck. Nope, I still need to do the neck. Dun, delete hidden, auto groups. Okay, there we go. So basically I deleted all the thicknesses on everything. And then I'm going to delete the interior. So now we just have a single-sided surface. Yeah. Max headroom. Hey Sean, why aren't you at San Diego Comic-Con? What's going on? What are you doing? Oh, it looks like there's a big ring. So this is a ring that goes all the way up to here. Okay. Well, we're going to ignore that for a minute. And I'm just going to delete one of these edge rings, edge loops right here. Hey, Jose, how's it going? Okay, so we're going to delete that. Okay. Delete hidden. So I just deleted this. And now that's essentially your overlap. So what you can do now is I'll grab the snake hook brush, turn off RGB, turn on topological, make my brush bigger, and then we can drag. Actually, yeah, I don't know why this is. Shouldn't be affecting. Let's try move topological. Range 3. It shouldn't be affecting the other one at all. Real hot and smelly. Oh yeah. Have you been? I've been to San Diego Comic-Con a few times, and it is a smelly geek fest for sure. I love it. It's fun. A lot of cosplay happening. Oh, you know what? That's what's going on. I have symmetry turned on. Stupid me. Okay, there we go. I'm like, why is it affecting it? I have topological turned on. Okay. So then you can just overlap it like this. Overlap it. So it's essentially just overlapping it for reals. Okay, I don't want to do that. I was just trying to get rid of this. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm just going to Z-remesh it. Not in symmetry, just Z-remesh it. So turn off keep groups. Let's go to 5. And just try it, see what happens. It doesn't look very good. Let's try it again. Just moving this around a little bit. Let's go up to 6. Let's go to 8. Try 8. Yes, Z-Remesher loves spirals for sure. Spirals. It's wanting to keep this edge, so I'm going to try and move this little vertice closer so it's not so, because Z-Remesher likes to follow change, and since that's such a harsh change, it's trying to follow it. So I'm trying to straighten it out so it won't follow it. Really, Sean? Oh man. Okay, so this isn't bad. So that's essentially how you do it, Lucky, is just kind of smooth that out. Then if you're going to do these wrinkles, they look okay, but I would just kind of push them a little stronger. I think the worst for smells was like a like a Magic the Gathering Wizards of the Coast tournament thing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, again, just find some reference. You could use Sculptris Pro for the folds, but I would just kind of try and block it in first and see what you can get without using it, because the thing with Sculptris Pro is it's kind of it's a slippery slope, and I've talked about it before. But once you do Sculptris Pro, it's like you have to commit to it, you know, or because you're going to have to eventually Z-remesh it, or you know, retopologize it somehow, because it's really not usable unless you're just 3D printing it. Another place you could do wrinkles is where anywhere clothing tucks inside of other clothing, like pants tucking into boots, a coat tucking into you know, into a belt like this. That's essentially another opportunity to make a wrinkle like this. Push this in. I mean, I don't know what the concept looks like, but that's usually where wrinkles happen. Do you use the pinch from the inside trick? Sometimes I'll do that. Saving project. Man, is this big or what? Okay. No, it's not. This is good. Okay. So now that we have this, see how that wrinkle is kind of, it's working now? Because it looks like the belt is tight enough that it's making that coat kind of bulge out right there. If that makes sense. But Sean, to answer that question, I usually will use inflate on the outside to close stuff like that up, rather than pinch from the inside. But I need to remember that trick, pinch from the inside. I'm gonna try it. So like, I think this is what you're talking about, like this. And it gives you that, because it works from the outside too, I guess. But that's getting a little too warbly. Warble-tastic. I just smoothed that out too much. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of how I would do that overlap, if that makes sense. So now what you can do is you can just come in and add your thickness. Like the armpits and crotchal region, yeah, for sure. Like Dylan Ekron does, where he'll come in here and like clean this up from the inside. Yeah, that's who I learned it from. Good old Dylan. Okay. So let's see. So now if we want to add thickness, all we have to do is go to the Z modeler brush and do a extrude polygroup all, and then just kind of, yeah, crotchal region. And we'll just kind of push this in and you'll get that thickness back. And then what you can do is, oh yeah, he's who Dylan? Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. He occasionally does a great thing or two. I probably killed the color on this coat. There we go. So then you can just come in here and realign the the collar to match kind of that what we just made there. And then it just makes a nicer cut, and it looks real instead of just like a hint of it, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like I would get rid of these wrinkles here and here, because along the thigh you don't have much wrinkles unless it's like a super baggy army-ish pants, which these are kind of like that, but yeah, I think it's a little too, and I like, again, I would put the wrinkles here in the, coming out of the crotch like that, rather than like doing these loopy loops, just a thought. Okay, so I hope that helps, Lucky. If you can remember all that, you can just watch it back, I guess. But yeah, these wrinkles. I would look at some Fortnite characters and find, because they do a really good job with wrinkles on their coats. Let me just see here. Gotta find a material that is like leather like that, though. That's the hard part. It's finding, here, I'll just show you kind of what I'm looking at with these Fortnite characters. Paragraphs and notes. Okay, cool. They all have bare shoulders. This guy. Come on, there's got to be some. Usually their wrinkles are down, like this guy. Oh boy. You can kind of see some that's packed down by this belt. Yeah, I just really love how they do their wrinkles. This might be a fan art, but those are good wrinkles. Let's go back up. I'm gonna go to large. There we go. Yeah, so across the thighs, not very wrinkly, and then down here, lots of wrinkles where it starts to tuck into the boot. Like, see these bands right here? Then there's wrinkles being caused by the tightness of these bands, and then there's a bulge coming out from underneath it because that band is wrapped so tight. Not that you necessarily have anything like that. Yeah, same kind of thing here. There's a whole bunch of them. I wonder how big that is. Open image and new tab. Let's see how big this is. Oh. So this guy kind of has the crotch wrinkles I was talking about. And see how this guy's crotch is, I mean, I hate we're talking about crotches, but this guy's crotch is really not defined. He has pants similar to yours, but it just has kind of one line going across here. That's created from the pose, but still it doesn't have, like, it's not being pushed, the line's not being pushed in where the hips would deform, where the legs are connected to the pelvis. You can just kind of flatten that whole thing out, kind of like this is right here. Here's a good example. See, there's no defining line that's separating the leg from the pelvis. Yes, is what I'm trying to say. Even in I guess there's a little one here. This rabbit pajama guy. Just want to look at more examples. Like this guy. Just some subtle wrinkles right there. Pretty good. This guy's face is great. Oh, here we go. This one's pretty good. So you have knee pads like this. So See how it has kind of that fold going around the knee pad and continuing to carry on around the back. Yeah, very, very few folds, but the ones that it does have are being caused by fabric getting tucked into boots, folds from the elbows bending, the knees bending. See how his shoulder, he's wearing a leather coat and it's not really causing many folds. Because if you think about cloth or like a cloth simulator, it's when you drop some cloth on top of the sphere, all the wrinkles are going to happen down underneath where it's kind of hanging, and on the top it's going to be pulled tight. Well, it works the same with clothing. Like in my shoulders of my shirt, well, it's kind of dark, you can't see it, but right here it's being pulled tight. So there's not really any wrinkles, but underneath my armpit where it's getting all pinched and everything, there's a whole bunch of wrinkles down there. So you just kind of have to think about where wrinkles come from and why they're there. Instead of wrinkles are tough. I'll just have to say that they're difficult. So reference is key on that one. Here we go. There's a ton of them. These are great. Another game that you can look at stylized wrinkles with is Sea of Thieves is a good one. Crotchal notes. Let's see. They're kind of hard to see. Yep, again, just like super boop, boop, just little subtle things. I'm trying to find some good shoulder leather. Again, the wrinkles are only happening where this shirt is tucking into this belt. There's some crisscrossy ones around here, and those are being caused because of that apron he's got on is kind of slacking in the front. All right, Corinne, take care. Thanks for hanging out and listening to my horrible microphone today. Like I said, I'm trying to try and get it fixed by next week. I was hoping, sometimes you remember things differently. I'm looking at these guys and like, there really isn't enough wrinkles to display to show you guys. Here we go. There's a couple. But in their shoulders, not very many. It's usually in the elbows. Anyway, hope that helps you, Lucky. Yep, we talked about crotchwrinkles.com. Don't go there. Okay. I love the stylings of Sea of Thieves. Really cool. I'm going to save this one. It's actually got, if you guys watch that head anatomy course, this is actually showing a whole bunch of those landmarks I'm talking about. So I'm going to save this. So I just ran across, I'm like, ooh. All right, boom, saved. Okay. Oh yeah, Overwatch. So yeah, Cardoza, I actually did a character for Overwatch. I did the baseballs in Yada. I can show you where I put the wrinkles on him. Right, Sean? So I did baseballs in Yada, and it's super duper subtle on him though. You can see a few tiny little wrinkles up here, but there are some down where this shirt tucks in here, and then where the pants are bending. Gosh, it's kind of hard to see in this one shot, but yeah, he only has wrinkles right here, and that's it. But yeah, Overwatch is fantastic for wrinkles too. Very, very good. Very good reference there. Yeah. I want to do more. Hopefully when I get settled in my new place, I'll be able to do more skins for them. Flash Nation Part 1 facial. I just barely put up Part 2, so feel free to go watch that. And everybody that's here just now and didn't catch I'm going to send out an email later this afternoon announcing it, but I did put up Part 1 and 2 of the head anatomy. So if you go to your library and you go to 3D Character Workshop, at the very, very bottom is Stylized Anatomy, and then you'll see Anatomy of the Head Part 1 and now Part 2. They're both in there now. So you can go check those out. They're long, they're like an hour each, so get your popcorn and your blanket. Overton, which live stream tutorial would you suggest to watch learning about textures? Now, I would watch one that hasn't been made yet, and that is the sirloin one that's coming up. I'm going to be making textures for him inside of Substance. So we're going to get the we're going to have Brendan Bankston help us out inside of Substance Painter, and we're going to learn how to texture inside of there. So basically, the Overwatch character that I did in Photoshop, but it follows the exact same kind of workflow that I'm going to show you guys how to use inside of Substance Painter. So I would get him all UV'd, retopologized, and ready to be put into Substance Painter if you want to texture him with, for a game character that way. If you're just wanting to poly paint him, then just go to town inside of ZBrush in the high resolution area like that. So, are there any PDFs for the head anatomy? No, there are, but there are images. So let me show you. I just dumped a bunch of images in here for reference so that you can kind of come through here and check them out. So these are just a bunch of things I found online that are really good references. So some Mitch Leoe ones, Leoe. So yeah, really good stuff. So you can check that out. You've made a reference file of crotches now. Yes. Okay, and I haven't added any images to this one, but this one has some new images on it. Yeah, leather is so thick that it doesn't bend and fall as much as cotton, so the wrinkles be thicker and less frequent. Absolutely true. Jim, yes. I need a rim shot, a badoonch. So the new music, that is the same music, but a different piece of it. Yeah, like Scott's been helping me out a ton on these. So Scott, if you're in here, thank you so much. He's been helping me edit and do the little pop-ups, the early beginner mistakes and those little pop-up things. Scott's been helping me out a ton with those, which is allowing me to continue to pump out some content. I have 2 more videos that are already recorded. They're in the can, and Scott's working on editing those. I'll be deep diving on like the nose and the lips and all that kind of stuff. So can you see my, that's kind of personal, Overton. Can you see my Loki? Yeah, let me load him up. Hold on a second. Okay, let's see. Da-da. I think they're here. Loki. That's STLs. Hold on a second. I think it's this one. Toy pose. There it is. Oh, the lighting on my green screen's getting weird. It's got this fuzz right here. It's like a galaxy above my head. Yeah, it does feel like a Twitch stream. So here's Loki's cape. One thing I love to do with capes is this S-curve thing. See this S-curve right here? I love it because it makes it look like it's flipping in the wind. I did this similar thing with Oh, I was going to say Corinne. With I'm trying to remember her name. You don't actually have the actual toy around. It's packed. Yeah, it's packed. I'm sorry. It's in a box right over there. So I'd have to dig it out. Trying to remember. What's Loki? What is her name? I think I did one. Well, yeah, I did one with we called him Grim, but it's Kylo Ren. When I was working on Kylo Ren, I didn't even know his real name. We called him Grim. Were your cape edges too sharp? Do I still have him loaded? Well, I'll show you the cape on this one, how we resolved the edges. Let me turn up the background gray just a little bit so you can see it. So what we did on our capes were we would have a sharp edge on the bottom and then a soft edge on top. So it would give the illusion of a thinner piece of fabric. I'm looking over here thinking it's my camera again. But you can see from the side, it resolves like this. Well, it doesn't have that hook. Here, let me do it again. It resolves like this, right? So instead of coming out and ending like that, it's in that way. What happens is like I said, it gives the illusion of thinness, but it gives the rigidity. Is that a word? Rigidness, like the thickness, so it could support itself as a toy, um, and throughout the cape in the middle. So yeah, it kind of worked out pretty well. You can see all the, I think Matt Thorpe called them twirly bits, and you can see the S curve happening again right here, S curve in that swoopy cape, and then this depression caused by that swoop, which is really cool, and then this kind of C shape underneath here is supporting the shape above it right here. So it looks like they're kind of overlapping each other, following the same wind pattern. And this one hooks like this. This one hooks like this. They kind of just all support that billowing wind happening up underneath there. Same with this one. They're all just kind of catching that billow. So this is a pose I did. Is it? Wait a minute. I'm trying to remember. Because Matt did a pose for him. I think this is a Matt pose. And I did a pose where he is, I'm trying to remember. Boo. Active. I'm trying to remember. So yeah, Overton, I would do the resolve your cape ends like that if you could. Oh, this is the same. Here, let me I'm gonna open a new one and clear everything out because if it goes to save again, it's gonna save a long time. Okay, let's change the background, turn off the floor, load in another tool. Okay, I'm trying to think of another character. Ant-Man doesn't have a cape. Lightning McQueen doesn't have a. Oh, Boba Fett kind of has a cape. It's really small. Syndrome has a pretty nice cape. Let's take a look at him. Did you start this one with a quick rough pose out of proportion built up around it? Like, yes, I did. Are you talking about Kylo Ren? So essentially, what I would do with Kylo Ren, um, this guy's cape isn't as we didn't do the S curve one on this one quite as much. But if I was to do it again, I'd probably kick it up like that on the end. But with Kylo Ren, what we did was we would pose the guy underneath, leaving all of those pieces of cloth just hanging down straight, and we would get the initial pose completely in place first, and then we would pose each piece of cloth separately, starting from, it's kind of like hair, starting from the pieces of cloth that are closest to the body first, and working your way out like a flower. Um, and this guy's face was done by Irene Matar. So yeah, she helped us a lot. She helped us find like Syndrome's his look, his like that mad laugh look, and Dash's face. She really helped figure out Dash's look. So yeah, she's super good. Let's see. Um, why I have some Josh heads in here. Sorry, I'm just curious to see what these are. I'm like, what's this one? Oh, it's this girl. Okay, that's right. All right. Sometimes I save things certain places. I'm like, what the heck is this? Okay, this is one. Okay, so Syndrome's hair, yeah, it's done in pieces, just like, just big chunks all together, then then melded together, which with Dynamesh, and then I just go and like smooth out those creases, so the transitions between the big chunky pieces isn't as blatant. It's just a little softer. So let's see. Yeah, she has some here, just very little. I was remembering her having more, but this is the last model that I did for Infinity from Rogue One. But this one was fun. I didn't, so on these I actually transitioned. I ended them in very blocky. It's just basically I didn't do the transition that's like that. I should have probably looked better if I did, because it just kind of depended on which, I don't know. It depended on like the the art director, what he wanted me to do with it, that kind of stuff. If I had to do it again, will you still use Dynamesh or polish? I would probably use polish if I could. Now that being said, there is one thing that I saw recently in Blender that it allows you to blender it allows you to blend the pieces together, the chunks together, without committing them together. So I'm trying to remember who, I think it was Pablo. I gotta show you guys this. Sorry if I'm on a tangent, because this is super cool. Let me see, it's on Instagram. So Pablo DeBarro, yeah, okay. So Pablo DeBarro is this guy that's doing. Oh, I lost you. Hold on a second. I lost my comments. Where'd you guys go? Sorry. Okay, there we go. All right. Yep, tangent. Okay, so yeah, the Boolean modifier. So he made this Princess Zelda, right? And the hair that he made, see how it has that kind of look where it looks like the pieces are melded together. Not all of them, but some of them are very nice and kind of put together that way. It makes it look like it's been Dynameshed or polished or a mixture of both, but it hasn't. And what's so cool about that is it allows it to be non-destructive. So hair is very, very difficult to create and manage and edit and that kind of stuff. So um, it's this this is super appealing to me, where you can make if you can make hair and keep the chunks and keep it editable, but make it look like it's all booleaned or dynameshed together. That is huge. That is huge. So I really, really want to play with this and see if I can get it to work. But he has a video that shows him working this hair out, and it's super, super cool. But this Pablo guy is a guy to follow because he has a Blender branch that is a sculpting branch. It's not in the main Blender line. They're trying to get it in there, but he's doing a bunch of stuff that's very ZBrush like. Um, but he's also a ZBrush sculptor. But all these he's done in Blender. So he's an artist and a programmer, and that's why I hate him. I'm just kidding. He does great work. So anyway, yeah, this one is super cool. And so that way, so you can see that I keep this hair right here. I kind of kept it in chunks, in pieces and parts. But then I did a little detail work on the top, just little lines here and there. So this hair is very similar to the hair that I was just showing you that Pablo did. But the difference is this looks like separate chunks, whereas the hair he did, it's hard to tell in that direction, that image right there, but it's it looks like it's been dynameshed and kind of smoothed out a little bit. Yeah, right. And he's a fantastic artist and a fantastic programmer. How can you be fantastic at both? I don't know, but he's doing it. So go Pablo. Um, you know it well. Is there a way to use ZModeler Edge bevel to make a rounded edge instead of a chamfer? When there is, but with bevel it's kind of difficult because you need to select all the edges that you want to bevel all at once. Excuse me. Goodness sakes. Okay. So let me show you really quick. So if I have this sphere, we'll just draw a cube on here. Well, like this. Okay, so here's the cube with this crease. And say you wanted to do like a bevel or a chamfer. Man, my green screen is messing up. It's got this little band. I'm a horrible Twitch streamer. I hate him. Yep, dude, that's one of my favorite films of all time. Good old Tombstone. Okay, so you can do this bevel, but I'm going to show you what happens if you just do edge loop complete. It does this, okay? It bevels all the way around. But if you want to go this direction, it's gonna add some other lines and things like that that you might not necessarily want. So what I typically do if I want to do some kind of a bevel is I will just insert edge loops and just kind of bring it right up to the edge of all these, of each side. That way I can control it better. Whoops, come on, right there. And so if I do an uncrease all, and so I get rid of the creases and then I'll do a dynamic smooth, you can see that it has kind of this chamfer right here, and this side does not have supporting edges, so it's giving you this rounded look like this when it's dynamically subdivided, but this one's pretty tight. And I use this a lot on like that Overwatch character when I was doing hard surfaces, and that's most of the feedback that I got when I was getting feedback was make the bevels tighter or looser. They're very particular about the tightness of their bevels, which is crazy, which is hard to do when you're just using the bevel tool rather than bringing in lines like this. Okay, so if I turn this off, you can also and how you make a bevel looser or tighter is you slide. So if I slide an edge loop complete, and I bring these edges down away from that corner like this, I'm essentially loosening up that bevel. Now when I turn on dynamics, you can see that bevel is just, it has a looser turn around that edge. And if I do a creased bevel using the creasing, without using the creasing levels, that's going to just give one super sharp bevel that I can't really control, right? So it's kind of crazy. As a technical animator, not sure you want those jobs. People want you to do everything from art to implementation. It can be very stressful. Absolutely. Yeah, I've done some a lot of technical animation myself. I rigged the tracks on the vehicles in Warhawk. So if you ever played Warhawk, there's like half tracks and tanks, and I made all the wheels inside the tank treads to be different ratios. So if I had the biggest wheels were like a ratio of 1, the next smaller wheel was exactly half the size. So I could like just do the math and make it simple in my head. So when the tracks went around, the rotations would work. It's just crazy. So yeah, you can slide the edges of your cape for sure. Yep, you should. Yeah, you should try that out. So see how I'm sliding this down? See how it's getting looser or tighter, like this? So those are called support edges that make these bevels, and that's something that's pretty well known in the hard surface world of modeling. And again, Blender, if you're interested in learning hard surface modeling, check out Hard Ops and Box Cutter. Those are two incredible add-ons for Blender that allow you to just like slice and dice and chop, and you can adjust your bevels, and you can adjust the transitions between objects really easily. It blows my mind. But ZModeler is great for what it is, but it's very limiting. It doesn't have a lot of options as far as like if I was to do some really hard edge or hard surface modeling, ZBrush would not be my first choice. I like that it has ZModeler because then I don't have to leave ZBrush if I want to do something really small and like edit something or just add an edge here or there or bridge something. Before ZModeler, I would have had to export my model into, like, say, Maya or something like that, make the fix, and then bring it back. And with now that ZModeler is in there, I don't have to do that. So it's kind of just like it's like a little tool belt that I have with me that I can just edit things with. I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't do a full-on, even though I did the gun with it, in the workshop. I probably would take it elsewhere. Just yeah. So, all right. Why you going to? Why you go so in depth in your ZBrush knowledge? I wish their API was easier to work with. I tried to make plugins for ZBrush, but it's so limited. It's very limited for sure. Yeah, yeah, Thomas, for sure. So, and don't feel bad. It's, I talk to a lot of people, and everybody is that they think they need to be a ZBrush purist, which is funny to say, but it's not true. ZBrush is a tool, just like Maya is a tool, just like Blender is a tool. They're all just tools to help you get to the end of your journey as fast as possible, as easy as possible. Hopefully, that's why I'm constantly looking at new tools all the time. If you get comfortable in a tool and you're just like, man, I don't want to learn anything else. I'm comfortable with this. It does what I need it to do. There, you should constantly be looking out in your career for tools that will help you lessen the steps. So that's what it's all about, is lessening the steps it takes you to get somewhere. And like the fewer clicks, the better, I guess, is what is what I'm really after. That's what it was all about when I was like rigging and animating, all that kind of stuff. If I could like get a programmer to script something for me that just I'm doing over and over and over again, that's just taking time, then I would go ask a programmer to help me out with that kind of stuff. So you can always just make a block out in Modeler and then add details in ZBrush? You totally can, for sure. Um, but you can easily block stuff out inside of ZBrush just as easy. So I would actually twist that around, Thomas. I would block something out in ZBrush and then detail it out somewhere else. So like add all of the support edges and things like that. So if you look at, I did most of Zenyatta's hard surface inside of Maya. So if you look again at Zenyatta, that scan I did, his face mask was this piece on his face mask. It has support edges all throughout this entire thing, and up in here, and all these little things. This is floating geometry, but like this chin piece, that has all of those supporting edges to create those bevels all around there, and all these hydraulics and everything. And this is actually floating geometry too, but all these bevels, and then everything up his arm, like all of these pieces. I did all of that in Maya. It would have taken me forever to do in ZBrush, so it was just much quicker to do in Maya. And this glove, to make this glove, was interesting. I just retopologized the glove that was already there. Man, look at this green screen. Come on. It's like this fuzz. It's funny. Anyway, yeah, it's really nice, and that's kind of the reason I'm so excited about the Blender thing and how far it's coming, is because I don't like, you know, taking my model to all of these different programs like 3D Code and Marmoset and that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited that people are finally really taking Blender seriously, because, and you saw that Unreal just put a bunch of money behind it. What that means is they're going to get a whole bunch more developer funding and possibly more developers, and that will increase the development speed quite a bit, and hopefully they'll bring some things that are in other programs into Blender. And yeah, I think I have a shadow. You know what it is? It's my window is straight across from me, and it's natural light, and it's shining, giving a different value of green to the screen right here. That's weird. Anyway, all right. After seeing several vids on, yeah, Blender Hair with curves. So that's another thing, is if you use curves, it's essentially that, I mean, Maya's had it for years and years and years, but lofting a curve along a curve, that just means that you can make like a profile, like a curve profile, and loft that curve along another curve, and you can control the bevel of it, not the bevel, the thickness. So you can have a hair that's thin on one end, that gets thick, and it goes all the way down, it gets thin again. Oh, you recently made hair in, hey, what's going on, Brandon? I recently made hair in Blender using skin modifier. I liked it better than using curves. I'll have to mess with that one. Danny Mac has a really good hair in Blender video that you should check out. It's a basic teach a dummy Blender vids. Yeah, Sean. So actually, Blender. So Blender themselves have come out with some, because with the launch of 2.8, they're just doing recently. There's been a kind of a whole bunch of basic beginner ones that are coming out. Yeah, Blender Guru is really good. Overton, as far as the community, I haven't heard anything yet. Yeah, I don't know where they're at. They tend to focus. They jump around. It's kind of like an artist, right? They tend to focus their development on different things, and I don't know when they're going to come back around to work on the community again. But I'll have to see. But yeah, Blender's putting out a series of beginner videos that are pretty nice. So, and I really want to just like, I wish I could just jam it in my head like the Matrix, just like, but what I'm hoping is all of my knowledge from ZBrush and Maya and all that kind of stuff will just kind of translate to Blender once I know where all the switches and knobs and all that kind of stuff is, and then I can just, because I really want to put it in my brain so that I can teach it, and because all of the anatomy stuff, the art stuff, the uh, and like Brandon is a shining example because you're Brandon, you're still doing all of this in Blender, right? He's following along my entire workshop since the beginning in Blender. So I think you can really use all the same knowledge and just translate it and use it in there. That's why I'm really excited to try out the Boolean modes and the dynamic modeling and stuff like that. So anyway, all right, guys, it is 3 o'clock my time. We're gonna wrap this thing up. So somebody had, sorry, I missed it. Cardozak, are you? Let's see. I just want to open that model. Somebody sent me a model and I don't want to forget it. Let me just go back here. I'm just totally spaced it. I'm sorry. Let's hurry and do it. Boom, boom, boom. This paladin dog. Very cool. This is looking great. Very cool. So, oh, it's a different dog. Okay. Very cool. So this is the concept for it right here. I'm doing these right now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So you're basically using, let's see. Yeah, so, okay. Let's see. I think I would, yeah, like you were saying, I would do, you could poly paint this. Let's see, what were you saying? You were having various problems with moving on this piece. I used my dog's reference, which is turning out great, by the way. Okay, so yeah, you can absolutely do all of the stuff with, man, the topology looks great. Good job. Very nice. Very, very nice. I love this armor too. It's really, really clean. The feet look great. It's hard to do dog feet good, and these look great. Yeah, maybe a little lumpy right there, but that looks good. And I love the fur. This one could probably be a little smaller, but this fur looks really nice. The details are your issues. Yep, I was just checking it out. I was just admiring your work. Okay, so with this, basically what you would do, okay, you have 4 subdivision levels and it is, well, it's only 192,000. So basically what you can do is bring it up to about 3 million. So that's another few subdivision levels. Okay, and then, and I don't know what color your dog is, but that should give you enough detail to come in and color him in and give you, you know, the detail that you need on as far as like at least the gradients. So that should give you some nice gradients. Let's see. So let's say he was kind of the color of this dog, for example. Um, I'm just going to fill in. Let's use this paintbrush. Fill it in. We'll go to a darker color. Yeah, see that should give you enough resolution. Maybe even one more higher. That's 12 million. That's pretty dang high, but that'll give you a super tight. See, the problem with characters that have everything combined, like his head and his body and his tail are all combined into one, that makes it difficult because then you have to really crank up the polygon count in order to get very clean edge work, right? So you can take that into Substance and do it all in texture, or you could take it to 3D Coat and do it all in texture there. 3D Coat's really nice for doing blended hand-painted textures. And yeah, that's what like they use for Warcraft, and like Riot uses it for League of Legends, stuff like that. And it looks like you're already starting to do some hand painting with the eyes. So yeah, I would honestly, I think I would take him, since you already have him all retopologized, just take him over to 3D Coat, do the UVs, and then I would attempt to hand paint him. And I could, man, I wish I could show you how to do that. But yeah, let's get the UVs on here, and then I don't know if it has UVs already, but then we can just hand paint them inside of 3D Coat. It's pretty easy. Yeah, the problem, Sean, with Sculptris Pro is it will start bogging your machine down. Here, but I'll show you what. Let's see, 1 million. Yeah, it's, let's see. Let me just. I'm gonna go down a level and delete lower, delete higher. But then you essentially get rid of all of the topology that you've spent so much time with. So you'd have to do a project all and then project it onto your texture map. So when you do hand painted textures inside of 3D Coat, it is what you get. So in the end, you are physically painting your textures, and so you don't have to bake anything because you're painting your texture. You don't have to transfer your paint from your high res to your low res because it is your low res. You're painting your texture, so you're taking out a step, which is really nice. But this is what Sean's saying is take your Sculptris Pro right here, and then you can paint really detailed lines because it'll cut in really tight triangles. You can go really small with that, but like I said, you lose your topology that way. But with this, you'd have to bake it. You'd have to bake it down in. But it does give really nice edges without having to subdivide it up to 12 million or whatever. So yeah, and I'd be happy to show you that, Cardoza. I can show you hand painting inside of 3D Coat after your UVs are done. Maybe that'd be a good next Friday Q&A. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Sorry for the temporary digs here and my weird green screen that just keeps getting weirder as the sun goes down over there. So, all right. We will see you hopefully next Wednesday. I'll have my real microphone working and maybe my real camera set up, and we'll be in a better situation. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a wonderful week, and hopefully see you on Wednesday. All right. Cheers. We'll see you. Take care.